Hey, everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you as always from the Retro Wrestling Archive here in beautiful Gadsden, Alabama. And now join me in welcoming my co-host, the Tennessee studs themselves, Josh Briley and Richard Mullican of P3 Radio. Guys, how are we doing today?
Wonderful. It's a beautiful, what felt like fall morning a little bit, after intense heat, like God was trying to bake us for 3 weeks.
It's a heat dome, Richard Lee's what the weatherman called it.
A heat dome?
Heat dome.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what they termed it. And, man, it was like a fucking crock pot, dude.
But doing great.
I'm well done, Gene. How you doing?
I'm like Timothy Well and Stephen Dudd.
I would have wore a thong to get out of that fucking
I don't have a thong singlet. Where do you buy those on the gay amateur wrestling circuit? I guess I don't
think my grandmother would have made that for that. I think she would have sent their money back in the envelope, been like, I don't deal with that kind of stuff.
Tell them boys I'm gonna pray for them.
There's one of them adult magazine stores down there. They can get it down there.
To their credit, they were rocking that way before Borat was wearing it 25 years later. All right. Well, today is episode number 64, and it's going to be a wild ride through USWA Championship Wrestling, January 26th, 1991. And if you thought Memphis was cooling off, think again, because this week we had attempted haircuts, we set up stretcher matches, a Redman Rumble Royal announcement, and that's not Redman Royal Rumble, although you can't convince Dave Brown of that at times. Plus, Downtown Bruno moves Uptown. That's right. Bruno Lawler, straight from the trailer park down in Walls, Mississippi, is in a tuxedo and a top hat. You got to see it to believe it. So, that in mind, let's get right to today's show. And we're opening the show this week with Jerry the King Lawler taking on Terry Garvin. Now, I know we just saw that match on an episode very recently. Is it fair to say that everyone was underwhelmed by their first contest that we saw on TV?
Yeah, there wasn't much to it, and I think that's what we commented. I mean, what we saw wasn't bad. You could tell the crowd was going to be into it, but it was like spot show stuff for maybe like 2 minutes, and then it ends real quick.
I always hated the stuff as a kid, like especially the Jeff Jarrett strut out of nowhere, the time killing stuff, the stuff that it really would have been that 5-minute match would have been a 1-minute match had you taken all the time killing stuff out. So it's kind of like when they started arguing with the fans, it's like that does nothing for me as a kid,
Well, it does nothing for anybody as a TV audience, I think somewhere down the line, people started figuring out like, oh, the TV matches don't need to include, the audience per se, the in-house audience per se. And I think they got better about that. But back here, we're doing a lot of stuff that you'd see in, Tupelo on Friday night or something. But before we get into this match, let's hear from Terry Garvin and Uptown Bruno.
I hope you're ready for action. We are. Here comes Downtown Bruno. My goodness. What? Uptown Bruno.
New Uptown Bruno.
Well, there's a new look here. Terrence Garvin.
Listen, Dave, you can't hang around me for very long and not have some kind of class. I took Bruno and I cleaned him up and I made him a successful person, and you're not going to see him running around here scuzzy anymore. Look at he and I. We're the best-looking team in professional wrestling today. I still got the beautiful hair, Dave Brown. A lot of these little scum girls come up to me, and they ask me, they say, Terry Garvin, how do you get your hair looking so pretty? I wish mine would look like that. The first thing I want to tell you that I do that you people probably don't is wash it and condition it every once in a while. I can't tell you how to have hair like mine because it's so pretty. And God gave it to me. Bruno, tell him.
Exactly.
Uptown Bruno.
From now on, Dave, remember, it's not Downtown Bruno, it's Uptown Bruno. Now, I can't expect you to get that right. You can't even get the weather right. But try to remember, it's Uptown Bruno from now on.
Here comes the king right here.
First of all, I just wanted to say, look at him in that suit. Huh? What time you due back in the window at Woolworths there, Bruno, with that suit you got on, huh? And as far as his hair, he does have some nice, pretty hair, doesn't he? I mean, it's nice and long. His hair, maybe his hair's a little bit too long. What do you people think? A little bit too long?
Oh, okay.
Whew, man. Bruno
Are
looking
those
like
not the
Jiminy
worst
Cricket.
tights are those not the worst tights in the history of wrestling tights? Good Lord.
I told Richard, I said, he looks like one of those women of the Old West, and like one of those old whorehouses.
Yeah.
Even the
Yes.
bandana is like just giving that vibe off. And Bruno, good God, that top hat's swallowing him.
We got a Woolsworth reference. Like, weren't they like already gone by 91?
Mostly, and I didn't even really know they had many around like Memphis. I thought they were more of a northern thing, but
We had one in the local mall up
We
until
did.
like the late 80s.
I bought Macho Man, the Macho King there.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, all right, well then that's fair enough. Then I didn't realize that we didn't have any around where I was, but like I said, I didn't know if they were in that area or not. So that makes that reference a little less
Yeah.
dated, I guess. But
Can we point out the women in bikinis just look so far out of place?
yeah, we're going to see quite a bit of them in this show, and later in the show, I don't know how many clips they make it into, but there's a couple where I guess intentionally they are in the shot behind the people talking, specifically Uncle Danny. I remember, and then a couple times while Dave Brown's trying to sell something, and you see them. It looks like they're looking at themselves in a monitor, but then they're laughing and giggling like, people are like having these serious promos, and they're like, I was like, what? Why do we have them in the background? Like, okay, if you want to have them walk people out there like they did with Bruno and them right then, walk them to the ring and, whatever. But when they line up behind Dave when he's promoting the cards, like, I don't know, it's just very uncomfortable. It's early morning in a TV studio, half the crowd's kids, and you got these chicks walking around in swimsuits.
Yeah, I can't imagine Eddie Gilbert would be too happy if he's out there bleeding, trying to cut like a heartfelt like revenge promo or something, and they're back there doing that shit.
And they're lined up like dumb bitches that don't know what's going on in a hostage video.
Giggling, fucking laughing.
What are they doing with those heads?
I don't, what am I supposed to be doing right now? What do I do with my hands? Dave's like, I'll tell you what you do with your hands. But so yeah, here we go. We're doing this match again, and I don't know. This one was a little better than the first one, in some ways anyway. It's classic Lawler. We get the jabs and the stalling, and then Bruno helps distract the referee so Garvin can go into the heat, and he's, using a chain. He even hits the pile driver on Lawler. But that promo from Lawler, and I remember, like, when I was watching this through the first time, when he's like, yeah, he's got nice hair, but a little too much hair, don't you think? Like, is he trying to make some kind of joke about, or is this going to come into play later? And sure enough, at one point in the match, someone we don't see, it's kind of from off camera, but somebody from behind the curtain pitches him a pair of scissors.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I was just strike one.
Garvin has been knocked into the ropes. He's tied up in the ropes like Andre the Giant always used to have happen to him, and he's tied up in the ropes. And now somebody pitches Lawler some scissors, and Lawler's going to cut his hair, but Garvin breaks free, and Lawler starts chasing him around ringside with a pair of scissors. That's why I entitled this episode. If you clicked on this episode, it's titled "Running with Scissors"
on that Memphis floor,
like he was stealing second base, like speed running.
They were in his right hand as he turns the corner of the ring towards the crowd with the scissors facing towards the crowd of that slick as glass floor. He chases Garvin back in the ring, and this was the part that got me. He tackles Garvin from behind while he still has the scissors in his hand, and the scissors are like dangerously close to it. It's a wonder he didn't get his throat slit in this freaking ordeal. But, thanks to Bruno, Garvin manages to escape again, and he runs away, and referee Scott Bowden counts Terry Garvin out, even though Jerry Lawler's had a lethal weapon in his hands for going on 2 minutes now. He chased Garvin all around the studio, back into the ring. He counted Garvin out, and Jerry Lawler wins and gets his hand raised while holding a pair of scissors in the other hand.
My thing is, they tell you the number one rule as a kid that you're told, do not run with scissors. And you think if anybody in the world would have known that rule just by association alone. But I'm saying, the whole time I'm sitting there going, well, this match is over. And then they're like, that's going to be it. 10 count. You just ran him out with a deadly weapon. Yeah, that means Bruno could come out there with a 9mm and be undefeated for 6 months.
Yeah, you can win every match by count out when you brandished a pistol.
Another trip to the winner's circle.
The winner's purse is going to be mine if you ain't got balls. Come on.
It's like Mama says. It means that way sometimes.
Just call me Mr. Perfect of Memphis. I got a perfect record.
Like Chuck.
I mean, if I'm a parent on Saturday morning in 91, I see these chicks out here half naked, and now I see a guy chasing somebody with a pair of scissors. I've got a question. What am I letting my kid watch? They were watching cartoons 10 minutes ago, and now this, stuff's going on. It's
Muppet Babies was just on.
Yeah, and now we got a man chasing another man with scissors, and he still wins. So we send that message to kids like, hey, do what you got to do to win. It don't matter.
If you don't like someone, just chase them with those scissors until they relent.
Exactly. And, and if you own the company, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. It's a good lesson in life, I suppose.
Yeah.
Plays out well for most folks. So then from there, we get a full recap package of the Fabulous Ones and Cornette turning on Lawler for the third week in a row now. We show this thing in its entirety. We show him smacking him with the racket. We see the spike pile driver. But then we go to scenes from a recent tag team match where Lawler and Dundee took on the Fabulous Ones. And I do want to see a little bit of highlights of this here. It's not much of the match, but if you'll keep in mind, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're just listening, that's great, but you might want to come back and watch this clip. Do you guys remember when we had such fun with the Harris twins tying Mike Anthony up in the ropes by his head when they picked him up and they flipped him over and he's hanging there?
Yes.
Well, the Fabulous Ones attempt to do that to Dundee, but it doesn't quite go the way they intended. So let's see how that turns out. But the first thing you're going to see in this clip is Dundee wailing on people with Cornette's tennis racket. It looked rough. Steve Kern sends him a receipt by whacking him in the top of the head. Keep your eye on that. When Steve Kern gets a hold of that racket, watch how he hits Dundee in the head. And then we're going to hear Dundee, a quick piece of his promo here. And I'm surprised he's able to be this coherent after everything that went on. But the first thing to watch out for, they didn't quite pull this off as smoothly as the Harris twins did. Check this out.
Long can Lawler take both of them on by himself, and there you see, not long. Here comes Dundee, who has Cornette's tennis racket. The superstar nails Cornette, and he's nailing the Fabulous Ones left and right with that tennis racket. Referee calling for the bell. But these guys don't care. Dundee. Another referee trying to take the racket from Dundee. This thing quickly out of control. Lawler checking on Dundee, and Kern has the tennis racket again.
Kern again, picking Dundee up, carrying him around over his shoulders. Goes over to the top rope. They're hanging Dundee between the top and middle ropes. Stan Lane, Steve Kern picks Dundee up a second time. Spins him on over. Puts his head right in between the ropes. Cornette over. Hits Jared with the racket. They have Dundee hung between the top and middle.
You see, Jimmy Cornette, you may not know nothing about this, but Stan Lane and Steve Kern certainly does. Now, when you're an athlete, whether you're playing football, ice hockey, baseball, it doesn't matter. If some part of your body's not working, you can't do what it is they pay you to do. And what they pay me to do is wrestle. Now, Cornette, like I said, you wouldn't know what it is to walk around with a neck brace all week like I've been doing. Now, Corn and Lane, you deliberately picked me up jammed my neck between the second and the top rope and threw the rest of my body over the top. And you know what that would do? At most, it would strain all the ligaments just like it did. And if you was real lucky, it may have broke my neck, and I really think that's what you was trying to do. But the bad thing is, Cornette was pulling all the strings and you was doing all the dancing. He's the puppeteer and you guys are the puppet. Now let me tell you something, Jimmy Cornette. This week, you two clowns is wrestling Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Lawler. And if there's anything left after they've beat him up, I hope there's a itty-bitty bit left of you, brother, because you're the one that told him what to do. Oh, and I'm coming back. Don't make me a mistake about that. This guy's been around the horn a long time and back again. Now, Cornette, guys like you I eat for lunch, brother, because you've never played no athletic games. You've never done nothing except sit and watch videos of wrestling, then went and talked to your mother about getting you into the wrestling business.
Oh, my God.
So much to talk about right there.
Oh, man. That I don't guess I noticed it, like, watching this the first time. But, yeah, they try to do the Harris brothers and Mike Anthony deal in the ropes, but
he's just holding himself there.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not twisted.
Having to pretend.
And he almost, I didn't catch it the first time I watched it, but when I watched it right then, you notice that Dundee almost flipped himself over the ropes into the ring so that he would be hanging. And I guess he realized how obvious that would be. So he just held himself there until they finally come back over. And holy shit, if you thought the first time was awkward, the second time, and then he tied his arm in there too. It was like,
they double twisted his ass because they messed up the first time. That looked like it hurt.
Arm stuck in there. His neck was so bad, Gene. Did you see that turtleneck he had pulled down? He couldn't even wear the turtleneck on it. How big was that collar?
God, massive.
Yeah, I don't know whose sweater that was he was wearing, but it wasn't his, I don't think. Like Frank Morrell must have been wearing it first, and that's why the neck was completely stretched out of it.
And if you look at the way, so it looks like he's wearing pajamas with that big neckline. And there's a bed sheet for a backdrop. That's definitely got to be a bed sheet. And with his hair looking all kind of like disheveled, it looks like he's cutting that promo from bed. Let me tell you something, Corn and Lane.
Cornette, I eat guys like you for breakfast.
Yeah, he called him Corn and Lane. He meant to say
Steve Corn,
but he called him Corn and Lane.
Just so much going on in that clip there. Probably have to share that on the Facebook page or something, because that I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that lick with the racket to the back of Dundee's head looked pretty rough.
It sounded
everybody else was taking him to the back, but if you noticed, it looked like Dundee hit Kern twice as hard as he hit Lane or Cornette, and so I figured that was a receipt. Like, oh, okay, you little sumbitch, and just whacked him in the head as hard as he could.
He pissed Corn off so bad that he hit Lawler in the small of the back harder than shit too. And I know that had to piss Lawler off.
Gator don't take no shit. Gator ain't never been about that.
And you can see after he whacks Lane and Lane goes down, Lane is pleading with like Morrell and him both. You see, like he's like, no. Dundee gets him one more time before Kern cuts him off. Oh man, that was fun. So then we go to a promo from the Fabulous Ones, and they're bragging about taking Dundee out. And then they remind us about the $100,000 bounty put up by Terry Funk. Although they said they went to Terry Funk and told him that they took out Dundee, and Funk said Dundee ain't worth a dime to him. So that was a freebie, I guess. But now that Jeff Jarrett's on the shit list, if they can take out Lawler and Jeff Jarrett, they're gonna get $100,000. And that's where we're at right now. And then Kern talks, and he refers to James and Stanford. Their proper, I guess that's their York Foundation names. If they had ever had Alexander York come along, it was Stephen Kern, Stanford Lane, and James Cornette. I don't know. I started to clip this one, but I was like, well, I don't know. It's your typical Cornette promo, but just the look here.
Did Stan Lane have cataract surgery before this? What are those glasses?
That's like the 90-year-old woman interstate glasses.
Well, we're going to go up to the Piggly Wiggly and pick up some deals.
Either that or with the turtleneck he has on. Do you remember that old Mike Myers skit? Like, and he was Deetha, he was the drumming, you know.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like that. Like I forgot what they called it. He was the one that always goes, touch my monkey or whatever.
Yeah. Sprockets.
Sprockets, that's it. Yeah, Stan Lane looks like he just came from an episode of Sprockets. And Kern pink gym shirt there with his undershirt under it, but
very divorced dad Bob that he's got going there.
I'm just living out of my Toyota, Chief.
Like he just shotgunned a beer out of the back of his trunk, and now he's going to his son's Little League game.
Now you look at that guy right now with his Yankees hat on and his pink gym shirt, and think just a few months down the line, that's going to be Skinner with tobacco rolling down the front of his face. A long way from fabulous, but that's where we're headed. So after they leave, go ahead.
One of the 3 Skinners from my childhood, by the way, Leonard Skinner from Bart Simpson, and then him. There's a lot of Skinners in my childhood. Now
Skinner and Skinnards.
Yeah, a lot of Skinners.
I wish I'd have realized I was going to bring him up because I actually have the Skinner Hasbro over there that I got a while back, and it doesn't really look like a wrestler, but it looks like an interesting action figure nonetheless.
We used to say that like Josh's dad because it did.
Your daddy ain't got no doll.
Yeah. My dad's like the wind. He's everywhere. You can't see him.
He said, as long as I keep this action figure, he'll always be with me. And just like him, it ain't going to pay no child support.
We splashed some old Milwaukee on it to make it smell like
like he's still here.
Yeah.
I whack myself in the head with it every so often.
Yeah.
Remind me.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, enough painful memories.
Yes.
So Lawler comes out, and he's live in the studio, and of course, because we just saw him in the ring, and he talks about how he's beaten everyone from Hulk Hogan to Randy Savage, and Cornette and the Fabs are going to get theirs this week. He promises that Monday night they'll take those tag belts, and then they're going to take them out. So, again, typical Lawler promo. I didn't figure we really needed to hear that one any different than any of the others. And so at this point, Dave Brown runs down the card for Monday night. Now, we'll do like we usually do. We'll save that towards the end. But they do play... So they're going to have the Redman Rumble Royal. The first time Dave Brown says it, he says it correctly. And immediately in the next breath, he says, the Redman Royal Rumble. He explains the rules, and clearly it's just a Royal Rumble in Memphis, sponsored by a tobacco company. But then they run this ad, and I've been hearing this in my head ever since. Let's rumble.
Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble. The Redman Rumble Royal. Evil versus evil. Friend versus friend. Friend versus foe. Winner receives the Redman Trophy and $5,000. Let's rumble.
Every man for himself, and I just hope and pray that I come out on top.
Let's rumble.
You know who's going to come out on top? Let me show you 2 reasons Jeff Gaylord, the Missouri Tigers, coming out on top. And this is 2.
Let's rumble!
Redman Rumble Royal! Tony, tell him what's going to happen. Every 2 minutes, a man hits a ring. Every man for himself. Except we got one advantage. We're a tag team. So me and this man will definitely split the money. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. You're looking at the winners.
The Redman Rumble Royal.
So much to unpack.
Let's rumble.
So they used clips that were like at least 8 to 10 years old, except for the Jeff Jarrett one. What's the deal with the dude in the Jason mask dressed like Bruce Lee with the little yellow jumpsuit with the stripe on it? He was like skinny like Bruce Lee too.
I see. I don't remember him. I don't know. I see him turn up in that clip and was like, who was that?
Well, that's definitely not Jeff Van Camp or Sid. So
no, it wasn't any of the usual suspects there.
I told Josh it was like 30 Native Americans duking it out. I was so confused.
Who's
I was
the
like,
one who's going to end up on the package?
Jeff Jarrett's just praying to God he wins.
Yeah, that was an interesting little, and they run this thing like 2 or 3 times throughout the show.
Yeah,
we'll only show it to you once on Although, you may hear this again.
Let's rumble.
That's now going to be a permanent part of our soundboard here, of course. But Jeff Gaylord is in rare form in this episode. We're not going to talk about it right now. There's some more Jeff Gaylord to come here soon. But they followed that little thing up with what felt like a pretty long-winded promo from Jeff Jarrett. It wasn't a bad promo. It was just, I don't know. Did we really need it? Was there anything about Jarrett's promo that stood out to y'all?
Nothing. I mean, I just remember going, this is so long. And then I kind of to be honest with you, after it went for a little while, I told you last week how some things lose my interest. I kind of zipped through, and then so it went off, and then it came back on with the Redman Rumble, and he was talking again. I'm like, this motherfucker's talking again. What does he have to say? And that's 2.
That's number 2.
How does Doug look older here than he does now?
I don't know. He's certainly got more hair there than he does now.
I guess guys do age. I mean, Doug's aging gracefully then, because he looks younger now than he does right there in that image.
This one,
yeah. Me right now looks about the same age as him there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's probably what, in his 20s?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he's barely in his 20s there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we hear from Jeff Jarrett. Now, Uptown Bruno brings out his brand new tag team, Primetime Brian Lee and Jeff Gaylord. That's right. Brian Lee finds himself.
He looks excited, doesn't he?
Jeff Gaylord. Yeah, he's looking at him. He's like, oh, Jesus.
It looks like he's touching Jeff's muscle there, like poking it.
He's like, that's where his brain is right there.
That's where the power lies.
But, so they destroy TD Steele and Freezer Thompson in, around 4 minutes here. But in all the years that I watched Freezer Thompson do jobs, I don't know that I ever saw him get thrown around and bumped as much as he did in this match. I mean, Brian Lee hit him with like a sweet belly-to-belly suplex. He gave him a big backdrop. Jeff Gaylord's body slammed him all over the place. And if you'd never seen or heard from Jeff Gaylord and just saw this match, you might be fooled and thinking, ain't that bad. This is a pretty good tag team. But then fast forward 2 years after this, and he looks 10 times worse than he did in this match in 91. I don't know how anybody regresses as much as Jeff Gaylord does as his career moves on. Am I crazy in thinking that, or
no?
Did he not look bad in this match?
And the crowd was hot for this. I kept rewinding to see, did I miss something? Why are they going this crazy? And
I think it was the TD Steele Kung Fu. This motherfucker struck more than 2 Kung Fu poses during this match. And he's doing these shitty kicks on Gaylord. And I think that's what pissed Gaylord off.
He hit Brian Lee with 2 in the stomach. And Brian Lee's selling job of it was quit it. That was quit it. Come on now, quit it. But yeah, them throwing him over the top rope, Freezer Thompson, the crowd ignited. I thought he landed on a poor kid or something, because I'm like, what are they cheering about?
Oh man, yeah, they wore poor Freezer Thompson out. But I was really shocked at how easily, and maybe Freezer's a good enough worker, he got himself up, but the way Brian Lee snatched him up for that, because when he hooked him, I'm like, dude, you are not fixing to try to belly-to-belly Freezer Thompson. This is going to go terrible. And before I knew it, he had him there and down. I was like, damn, that's not as good as when Magnum belly-to-belly Kamala that time back in the day. A Great American Bash.
But to be fair, Freezer was probably, at this point, I don't know, 30 pounds lighter than what we would see later on, too, with the more not as mobile Freezer. But man, light on his feet this week, dude. It would. And What was so cool about it, you could see the Boy Scout troop was there, and Freezer did the bump right in front of them. That may have been just, oh my God, all them little kids just raising hell because he made the hell of a thud right in front of them.
Maybe he was an asshole to all those kids out front, and they were just like, yeah, fat ass getting his ass beat now.
He might have been their bus driver or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, y'all go sit down now. I turn this motherfucker around.
Steal my lunch.
Oh, God.
So now Uptown Bruno has 2 tag teams. Jeff Gaylord, Brian Lee. Of course, he also has the Dirty White Boy and Doug Gilbert, who we'll be seeing some of shortly. But before we get to that, Dave is going to run down the action coming up around the horn. And he mentions that they're going to have a prize package at some of these shows. And one of the great things that you can win in this prize package is this sweet hat right here with the golden boy, Jeff Jarrett. If you're not watching the video, you're missing out. Like, how many people would you guys fist fight to win that hat right there? I mean, come on now.
They used to do that thing where every year at Walmart, they'd come around with this digital type camera in the late 80s and take your picture and put it on a calendar or a shirt. That looks like what they did. All right, now, Jeff, get in the car. We got to go down there and get some promo shots from the Walmart.
Come on, Jeff. But I mean, even if you were the biggest Jeff Jarrett fan on earth, would you be caught dead wearing that? That's the god awful shit. I get 91. That's pretty high tech, I guess. But good Lord.
It looks like, it should be on a farmer's head. You know what I mean? Something that they're just using it to protect them from the sun. And Jeff's pointing
it's a big old trucker hat.
Jeff's pointing to the man he's praying and hoping to win for that Redman Rumble right now. Have you ever heard a wrestler go, I just hope and pray I win?
Your daddy is an owner. There's a good chance. You don't have to hope and pray. You can just be like, Daddy, I want to win.
Like most
Not
wrestlers,
this time, Jeff. I've been getting a lot of heat.
Like most wrestlers train and prepare. He's hoping and praying.
Did he? What's nepotism? Well,
right. You see that belt on your shoulder? That's nepotism.
That Corvette you pulled up today? Right. The one they keep keying that gets keyed every week.
Remember when you had that Rolex on your arm and you gave Steve Austin that $25 check? That's nepotism.
You kept trying to talk to him and just kept saying what over and over till you cried.
Ha ha.
So Lawler comes out and announces that tonight in Jonesboro, he's facing Terry Garvin in a match. Now, based on everything we saw earlier, conventional wisdom would say, hey, he's fixing to say we're going to meet in a hair match tonight in Jonesboro. But no, they're going to meet in a stretcher match tonight in Jonesboro. I don't know.
Yeah.
USWA logic, I guess.
I'm going to whip that sissy ass till he's crippled. They're going to stretch his ass out.
And I'm going to have him stretch you out face down just like you like it. Well, anyway, I can't say that. But he did throw in there that he would try to go ahead and cut Garvin's hair in the process. So at least we acknowledge what went on. But it just seems like, I'm going to have a match tonight. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what all that shit was about. He's setting up a hair match because it's going to be a stretcher match. I was like, what?
And from the promo that he did, for the Fabs and stuff, I feel like he's more invested in this Terry Garvin feud than the thing that he got going on with the Fabs and Cornette, which is weird, with what they're trying to do.
And this is just purely speculation because I don't know if the Fabs and Cornette were making all the towns. So I'm wondering if in the edited version, you didn't see none of that shit with the Fabulous Ones. They just promoted the match with Terry Garvin because that's the match that was coming to all the shows. That's just a theory based on what we've seen at the end of 93. But yeah, like you said, he put a lot more emphasis and seemed more fired up about the Terry Garvin match than he did about wrestling the Fabulous Ones, who, my God, we've tried everything we can. We make sure you do not forget what do it one more time. It felt like that old Saturday Night Live skit where they kept pitching to Buckwheat getting shot. Like, hey, Downtown Bruno, do you remember what happened last week? let's take a look. Like, God damn.
I just figured Lawler was more excited about the matches that he was going to have with Garvin, because we're seeing him on TV the last few weeks. Easy as hell if you're a wrestler. Minimal bumps. He's not getting beat to death with a fucking tennis racket. So he's probably more excited, truly.
He didn't have his kidneys beat in with a tennis racket when he wrestled Terry Garvin. He just, got his legs stretched out and twisted a little bit.
Yeah. I don't piss blood for a week when I wrestle Garvin.
Not for that. Not for a tennis racket, anyway.
No.
But, so the next match, we see the young babyface tag team of Jerry Lynn and Cody Michaels. And by the way, we had one listener who was nice enough to message me and point out that at one point last week, I accidentally called Cody Michaels Chris Michaels. So thank you for pointing that out. We got that taken care of.
You can say,
to be fair, Chris Michaels was there at the end of '93, and it's two blonde-headed guys that jump around. So anyway,
say
Jerry Lynn.
Go tell that guy to fuck himself. You try to do this.
I don't have to. Richard usually chimes in for me and gets it done. So I know if I bring it up, I can be cordial about it. And Richard will
sick him, Richard. Sick him.
He called him Shawn Michaels. You better watch it like it, pussy.
We have started this show. You didn't. You shut your mouth. You don't know what we've seen.
So Lynn and Cody Michaels are taking on Sergeant O'Reilly and Bill Rush. Yes, future referee Bill Rush. And the match ends in just over 17 seconds, which was about as long as I needed to see Jerry Lynn and Cody Michaels wrestle Sergeant O'Reilly and Bill Rush. So I'm good with that. But afterwards, Dave calls him over for an interview. He's like, hey, we need to kill some time because y'all wrapped that up way too fast, or so we think. So there they go over to the table. And I don't know, for some reason it struck me that looks like Jungle Boy Jack Perry there, don't he? And then on the right, Cody Michaels looks like a young, gorgeous George III.
Oh my God, he does so bad.
And it looks like all of them are waiting on the run in.
Yeah. Like, Jerry Lynn's looking over his shoulder right now going, where the hell are they at? We can't talk. Well, God, don't make us talk. Nobody wants that. But then, just in time, this happens.
Team of all time. Doug Gilbert and the Dirty White Boy. You guys ain't nothing but trash. You can't compare to my reputation. You can't compare to the...
Oh, look out. Way to go, Bruno. Out here with a little misdirection. And then all of a sudden, Tony Anthony, the Dirty White Boy, and Dirty Doug Gilbert jump Cody Michaels and Jerry Lynn. You guys out here interfering on their interview time. He's got Jerry Lynn's head cut open.
See, Dave, I've got a reputation for tag team. You don't talk to jabronis like this when you want to talk about tag team. You talk to Downtown Bruno. You talk to Uptown Bruno. And you talk to Dirty White Boy and Dirty Doug Gilbert. That's a tag team. These two punks ain't nothing. They don't make anything when it compares to us. As you can see, they're a bloody mess. They're trash. That's exactly what they are. They're not a tag team. That right there in the ring, the Dirty White Boy and Doug Gilbert, is the greatest tag team of all time, Dave Brown. So from now on, when you want some tag team information, you call Uptown Bruno and you call those two guys right up there in the ring that are killing these other two bums.
Dirty Doug Gilbert nailed Cody Michaels. Both of them cut open. Hey, here they come. Lawler, the new kids, Ben Jordan, all of them hit the ring, and maybe that will take you out of here, Uptown Bruno. Dirty White Boy and Dirty Doug Gilbert. They jumped them from...
Now, if I'm Brian Lee and Jeff Gaylord, are you offended because Uptown Bruno's out there saying that Doug and Dirty White Boy are the greatest tag team of all time?
I think he just knows that that tag team won't last because of how, special of an individual Mr. Gaylord is.
Hey, he could do anything. He could see a butterfly running out in his front yard, and he could be missing for weeks.
Passed by the wrong bank. This thing's over.
So we get to find out if they're going to have anything to say about it, because immediately Dave, as he's running down the card, Uptown Bruno, Jeff Gaylord, and Brian Lee come back out again.
That looks like me in the mornings and looking in the mirror.
Quite the shot there.
Yeah.
I only mention this just because Gaylord dropped a line that he seemed really proud of. He told Dave Brown that he always wanted to be a weatherman, that he's not a nerd, and just proceeded to cackle his ass off. Just proving once again that he's a man of many talents. He's not just a football player. He's not just a bodybuilder. He's not just a wrestler, and not just a promo master. But he's also one hell of a comedian. If he was still around, I would hope that Richard would find a way to get him booked in Jackson one of these days. But unfortunately, that can't happen. But yeah, he just seemed really proud of that line. Like after he said, he's like, he's kind of looking around at the other guys, and Brian Lee's like, yeah. Okay.
How many years did we watch this show and Dave Brown was the weatherman, and they almost never mentioned it? I feel like we got 2 references now.
Just the screen caps of Gaylord this week are just look at Bruno. I mean, this is right after he delivered that line about Dave. And you see Dave's face, then you see Bruno, you see Brian Lee's even chuckling. But he's got these freaking sunglasses on. I mean, I don't know, man. He's in it to win it this week. It's Jeff Gaylord on a whole nother level.
80s movie villain.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he missed his calling.
So next up we see Uncle Danny, and he is the fuck up.
Again.
Let's take a look here. Yes, fresh off of last week. Let's take a look at Uncle Danny in action here. This is something.
Nightmare Danny Davis right here with me.
Thank you, Dave. Let me tell you something, Brian Lee. You may think you're big and bad, but Monday night, you're going to find out just what I'm all about. You know, Saddam Hussein thinks he's bad. Everybody's heard of those Scud missiles. Well, those Scud missiles are about 30 foot long, and they're about this big around. Well, the United States have got something they call the Patriot missile. It's only about 7 foot long and only about that big around. And that Patriot missile knocks those Scud missiles out of the air every time. And you're going to think I'm a Patriot missile on you, Brian Lee. Because come Monday night, your big butt's going to be mine. Now, tonight, in Jonesboro, Arkansas, I promised the fans a treat. There's going to be 8 fans that are going to be able to participate in my match. That's right, a lumberjack strap match. 8 fans are going to have straps in their head, and my opponent, every time he gets thrown outside, he's going to get beat. And I mean beat hard, because when it comes to wrestling, I don't play. And Brian Lee, take one good look in my eyes. I don't care how bad you are, brother. You're going to go down, and that's a promise.
Nightmare Danny Davis. He will be at the Davis in control all the way so far. Ronnie Leach reverses Danny into the rope. Danny grabs him, snaps that neck, and a cover. Got a 1, 2. This one is over. Danny Davis gets the victory in 1:15 of action. Nice move by Nightmare Danny Davis. Ronnie Leach shaking his head. All the cobwebs are not going to clear for quite some time. Danny again greeted by the fans. We'll take a break. We've got more to come on USWA Wrestling.
Look like he beat up the fucking singer from Want in there. Good job, Danny. You beat up an 80s pop rock singer. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would have paid good money to be able to sit with him when he saw that footage for the first time with those bitches behind him grinning. And I mean, when he started talking about how long and big around the missile was, they're back here cackling like Beavis and Butthead.
I thought he was going through a psychotic break there for a minute when he was like, Saddam Hussein. I'm like, what the hell? He brought it back around, but
I told Richard Lee, I was like, how do you know when Uncle Danny's been watching CNN? This shit right here. And he must have found a new gym like in the last couple of weeks, because he's just been super jacked up the whole time. He goes in there, beats that dude half to death. Like Dave Brown said after the match was over, he says, Ronnie Leach in there shaking his head. Yeah, that's because his neck fucking hurts. Because if you watch the replay, like I just he goes down all over on his neck, it didn't look like that felt really good at all.
It wasn't pretty.
all the women in the background were taller than him.
And that wasn't helpful either. You could see their reactions because they all stood a freaking head taller than him. So he wasn't obstructing them at all.
And I noticed something last week, and I don't know if it got any better. Maybe just with my memory, it was just always. Danny couldn't draw a star to save his life, could he? It's kind of like what that old bit that John Mulaney used to say. I was like, I understand. I used to write "Happy Birthday" on poster board. You know, big SH, big SA. Oh no, yeah. The star is really big up top, and then it gets a little thinner down here because he's like, this is gonna have to cover my whole face if I keep this up. Well, I ain't wasting paint.
I'll look like demolition if I keep going through it. So I don't think I shared this with y'all, but I had a couple people message me, and then I saw somebody put it in the comments on YouTube that the reason last week's show was cut short and the reason that I looked all over the world and could not find a full version is there's not a full version. They cut into the show with war coverage in the Gulf War. But whoever made this video cut that out. They just abruptly ended the wrestling and they didn't be like, and now a special report or whatever. And so that's answers a couple of things. Number one, that answers why last week's show was so short and you don't ever see anywhere any other mention of it. And two, why we keep seeing half the wrestlers mention Patriot and Scud missiles in their fucking promo, because Danny's not the first one to do it. We've had Doug mention Scud missiles in one of the promos and somebody else did. So like you said, Josh, these guys are watching the news and now it's creeping into their promos. But I guess it was, it was topical at the time because Lord knows I remember that back then. That's all the news was talking about, yeah, they launched a Scud missile and it was taken down by the Patriot missile. And of course, then you had the Patriot and Global, whose finish, that shoulder block off the rope, was a Scud missile. And then you had Doug, the Dark Patriot, whose finish was the same move, but they called it a Scud missile. So that shit was all over the place in this era.
Yeah, and they had trading cards too. So when has a war had trading cards? But they did. They had.
Man, I want to get that Saddam Hussein rookie. I hope it's autographed.
He's only gassed 2 people here. Look at him.
I want some war-used relic cards.
If you get his later card, the stats on the back are a lot higher than the early ones. He really ran the numbers up for a little while there.
Oh my God.
I forgot about that. How weird is that? Gulf War trading cards.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Somebody was really profiting off a war there, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh.
You just see kids sitting around in a circle, I'll trade you Schwarzkopf for fucking. So our main event is a 6-man tag team match. It's the New Kids, Brian and Tony, teaming with Ben Jordan, and they're taking on Dirty White Boy, Doug Gilbert, and what was allegedly scheduled to be Downtown Bruno. But Downtown Bruno used the fact that Downtown Bruno signed the contract, but he's Uptown Bruno, so now he doesn't have to be in the match. And I guess all that was just overployed to have an excuse for throwing Sergeant O'Reilly in there as their partner. Wow.
It's like that joke about Bruce was a terrible driver. Caitlin had killed nobody.
Exactly. That's what we got going on here. But, we have a decent enough little 6-man tag going. But, of course, the angry, bloody Jerry Lynn and I almost said it again. Cody Michaels. God, it's going to be hard for me not to call him Chris Michaels for a reason. Cody Michaels, they hit the ring wanting payback on Doug and Dirty White Boy, and turns into a wild brawl as we wrap the show up with yet another main event with no finish to speak of. But we're kind of used to that by now, right?
Yeah, Memphis always loves that chaotic ending. It's like they, just want that as they're closing the show, I guess, you got to tune in next week. It's a wild brawl and they never know what can happen next week type thing. But after so many times, you kind of pick up on that formula and you're like, again.
It's effective until it gets redundant, and then it's just like, okay, well, the show must be over. They're breaking into a big fracas, but it's just like I remember, like in the Nitro days, you get to that point where every week the NWO would be in the ring, he would drop down from the ceiling, and they would scatter, and it would end with him in the ring with the bat. The first time that happened, you're like, holy shit, that was awesome. And then about 6 weeks in, you're like, okay, well, here comes Sting. I guess it's the with. Now, not to say that Tony Schiavone didn't cream his pants every single time Sting dropped from the ceiling, because, oh my God, it was. How you could even feign that much enthusiasm week after week after week is pretty impressive to me, because every time, it's Sting! Fuck me running, oh my God! He's going to murder me. All right, we're out of time.
Yeah.
Hell of a salesman.
Ever tried to fuck somebody running? That's a hell of a
No, but I
phrase.
could probably name a couple of people who had, but we won't, because this ain't Patreon.
In the business. What were they running around? Was it a swing set, brother?
If he'd have got a hold of Garvin with them scissors earlier, that might have been what happened. I don't know. He was running. Let's go ahead and take our podcast commercial break here. And when we come back, we'll talk about the card and see what you guys think about it.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here, curator of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, inviting you guys to listen to many of the programs here as part of the WrestleCopia brand, including, but not limited to, the Wrestling Memory Grenade, currently covering the 1988 and the WWF project. You can also listen to the Regional Wrestling Podcast, where we talk the territories. You can also listen to the Wrestling Stoop with the legend himself, Bob Roop. But that's not all. You can also check out the Pro Wrestling Academy with the professor of Puroresu, Mr. Dan Ginnity. Dan and I go back in time and cover the history of Japanese professional wrestling in the English language. And you can listen to all of those shows and more, all part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network, located over at WrestleCopia.com. That's WrestleCopia.com, and anywhere your podcast streaming needs are met. So if you're looking to support that next up-and-coming podcast brand, please consider making it WrestleCopia.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Chic, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all, and all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey, it's Bob Smith, and guess what? The Outdated Wrestling Hour is now part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. But hey, no fear, you're still going to hear the unique guests, comedy, music, authors, journalists, funny people. Who knows who's going to end up on the Outdated Wrestling Hour? Remember, it's all new and all old. So check it out in the WrestleCopia Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcasts. Listen if you know what's good for you.
All right, well, let's let Dave Brown tell us what the card is for this week, and then we'll see how you guys feel about this whole thing this week.
Opening match of the night, Ben Jordan will be going against Terry Garvin. Remember, regular prices are in effect for this big Redman Rumble Royal night at the Mid-South Coliseum. Then the Missouri Tiger, Jeff Gaylord, will be along. He will be going against the King Cobra. What should be another fine single match there. Primetime Brian Lee, the big guy, going against Nightmare Danny Davis. Danny giving away lots and lots of size in this particular match, but these tough veterans will go against each other at the Coliseum on Monday. Then, Dirty White Boy and Doug Gilbert, their former USWA World Tag Team Champions, they will be going against Cody Michaels and Jerry Lynn in tag team action. And then, everybody who's on the card will be coming along for the Redman Rumble Royal. $5,000 this one is worth. The Redman Royal Rumble works this way. 2 wrestlers start the match. Every 2 minutes, another wrestler heads for the ring. It's every man for himself. And whoever is left standing at the end of the Redman Rumble Royal picks up a check and a trophy. This one should be something to see. It could be, well, you could end up, for instance, say Jeff Jarrett against Jerry Lawler. You could end up with Stan and Steve against each other, because it's every man for himself. And remember, the winner, whoever's left at the end of the whole thing, picks up the check and the trophy for the Redman Rumble Royal. It's worth $5,000. Then, main event of the night, the USWA World Tag Titles will be on the line. You heard the King talking about this just a few minutes ago. The Fabulous Ones, Stan and Steve, with Jimmy Cornette, putting the titles on the line against Jerry Lawler and Golden Boy Jeff Jarrett.
Somebody was losing their mind out in the audience at some point there. Good Lord.
That's what we were saying. Josh said he thought the Scoutmaster must have gotten kicked out.
The kids were raging. That's all right.
I was telling Josh, too. I said, speaking of fuck me running, that's what it would sound like if somebody tried.
Yeah, that was off-putting. But all right, so now we've heard the card, so it's time for you guys to answer those questions I ask every week. And, of course, we always start with, what was your least favorite part of today's show?
I really wasn't sold on the main event, to be honest with you. It didn't feel like the main event. And I love Brian, I love Doug, I love the whole, it just didn't feel like there was something there, at that point. And then you just knew that there was going to be a run-in. So it was like everything you could tell was coming happened. And it kind of brought it down for me.
I got you.
I don't like the ending of the show, the way that it's just, supposed to be this big match, and even if it is a 3 versus 3, it's like, at least give us something. I figured that's why Sergeant O'Reilly was there. He was going to take the pin.
Yeah.
And, that was going to be it. Then maybe have the run in where everybody does the thing, but no finish. And we just do a run in anyways. I feel like we could have got a resolve there or something, then took care of it. But,
Yeah, I mean, we'd already beaten Sergeant O'Reilly in 17 seconds earlier. What would it matter if he took another L here? But I agree with both of those. So what was your most favorite part of today's show?
I enjoyed the tag match with Jeff Gaylord and Brian Lee. I remember I rewound and rewatched certain. I felt like a lot of action going on in that match, and I missed Thompson going over the top rope about 20 times. I'm like, when did that? Okay, let me rewind it and watch it. So I actually enjoyed it. The crowd was into it. And like I said, it was pretty impressive for me, the feats of strength of Brian Lee.
I absolutely enjoy it. And usually a replay isn't going to be my favorite part, but man, I was so overjoyed watching that. Bill Dundee and Lawler versus the Fabs, the whole, we're going to throw him into the ropes this way to trap him, then the other way, the shoot racket shots going on both sides, and then the Dundee promo afterwards with that awesome sweater. Just good stuff, man. It's there to entertain, and it did.
Yeah, I agree. And Richard, who would have thought, and we're not even out of January yet, that Jeff Gaylord would be the star of an episode of any show we watched. But as far as things that happened in the studio, that tag team match with him and Brian Lee was by far, to me, the most entertaining thing. So who knows? We may be seeing, maybe there's a whole different Jeff Gaylord back in 91 that, that we kind of forgot about once we saw it in 93. Then again, maybe it's just a fluke, and next week we'll go back to normal. We'll just have to wait and see. So if, based on what you saw here, the good and the bad, and then the card that they discussed, and of course the Redman Rumble Royal being a part of it, would you guys buy a ticket to go see this show?
You know what? I'm probably going to go to this show. I just had a funny thought. It's like, what if before they got in the ring, just do the sponsorship, they had to go grab a big old handful of Redman chew and put it into their lip.
They just had to stand around in a circle and chew it. And
it looks like Terry Garvin has succumbed to the buzz of the nicotine.
Like, the order that they spit is how they have to go into the ring.
It's like the Sandlot where they're on the thing and they've got the chew and they're just throwing up everywhere.
Exactly. The last one to puke is the last one in the rumble.
But no, I would have went down just for that. I was a huge mark for rumbles as a kid. I loved a big battle royale like this. I would have been all over that, and I want to see what happens if Lawler loses the stretcher match. What do we do about the main event?
I don't know. Fingers crossed that he makes it out of there.
So I'd go to this one. Yes.
I think I'm going to go just for the Redneck Royal Rumble. I keep thinking he's going to call it that, like, and in my head, that's what I hear. But
for sure.
But either way, I want to go see the results of that. But then you got Uncle Danny versus Brian Lee, like not just any Uncle Danny, fucking jacked up,
my Uncle
all the way up on 10, volume 10, Uncle Danny. I feel like Brian Lee's going to come out with some goose eggs. It could get bad.
Underfaker.
And this is, and that's what I was going to say. This is an era of Brian Lee, which I think really is his prime, like 91 to, early 93, I think was prime Brian Lee. Once he became the Underfaker and he got bigger, he wasn't quite as mobile and I don't know. I just think this is his prime here. Other people would disagree and think once he became the big, what they would later call bulldozer Brian Lee in ECW, and he was choke slamming people off of balconies, that's the prime version. And maybe it is. I don't know. But of all the matches on this card, I would really like to see that single.
I'm going to say Brian Lee's prime was when he was prime time.
And this is it. So,
yeah.
So there we go. We agree.
Yeah.
So Monday night, January 28th, 1991 at the Mid-South Coliseum. We don't have an attendance number, but we do have a gate, which is weird. It says the gate was $5,000.
That seems very
paid just enough for the Redneck Royal Rumble.
That's very accurate. Yeah, it's like we got like $100,000 on this gate. That's a very even number.
We got just enough to pay for the Rumble. I mean, of course, y'all don't really get that, so it don't matter. So, opening match saw Terrence Garvin pin Ben Jordan. He's on the main event angle with Lawler for the TV in Jonesboro, but in Memphis, he's first match. Surprise, surprise, Jeff Gaylord pinned the King Cobra. And again, and another surprise, primetime Brian Lee pinned Nightmare Danny Davis.
I'm shocked.
Any comments from anyone?
I'm shocked. That Patriot missile didn't do what he thought it would do. Looked like he shot in the wrong place. He over there trying to shoot India and should be shooting Baghdad.
He must have shot it prematurely, perhaps. I don't know. Cody Michaels and Jerry Lynn beat the Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony and Dirty Doug Gilbert. Now get ready. Here's one that'll shock them all. Nightmare Danny Davis won the Redman Rumble Royal.
Damn. So, $5,000.
Well, he just laid down in the ring. That's how you win. Can't go up top, just laying down on the mat.
And then in the main event, the tag team champions, the Fabulous Ones, went to a draw with Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Lawler, and due to that, the titles were held up after the match.
Oh, God. Why?
Ugh.
Why do that shit?
I remember the first time as a kid, like, I didn't know what a draw was. I saw a WCW match and went to a draw, and I was like, that's cool. They're going to sit down and draw some shit.
Whoever's bestest wins.
It's an art contest now.
It'd be more interesting than everybody going home without a winner, and the belts are held up. What does that mean? We're having a fucking tournament?
Tournament, yeah.
Rumble!
Right there. Congratulations. So I bet he'll be really fired up on next week's TV with $5,000 and a trophy, and
Big old lip of chew.
I'm going to find Redman.
They bound to have gave him at least like a 10-pack, as promotional.
Yeah. Make sure everybody sees this hanging out of your pocket for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
That was a short window of time. He was Danny the Redneck Davis.
Dave Brown's interviewing him was like, I've noticed the huge lump on your cheek there. He's like, yeah, I'm going to tell everybody right now, Dave, don't do the Redman chew. I've got a tumor the size of a softball in my mouth.
Danny, if you hit the tanning bed really hard, you think we could pass you off as an Indian? You got an idea.
You know how you always have like the emphasis on say no to drugs, say no to drugs, kids, except for Redman Chew. It's good for you.
Always say yes to that.
Here he is, the Native American nightmare, Danny Davis in there.
And remember, real men swallow the juice.
That's right, honey. All of everything he knows.
Oh man.
Don't know when or if Bert turns up in 1991.
He does.
All right, good deal. I was gonna say, if we go a whole year without him, that's gonna be rough. But
I think this the first time he was ever in Memphis was this year. I'm pretty sure.
All right. I like it. Now, question. We watched this show. We ran down the card. We ran down the results. Now, having watched last week's show, does anything stand out to you guys that was on last week's show that now suddenly isn't on this week's show?
I would have said Joey Maggs, but that was 2 weeks ago. They still hadn't talked about him. They beat him to death. They didn't bring up no, I don't know. Nothing. I can't
recall.
So that shows you how memorable that return was last week. There was no sign of the stud stable this week.
Oh, yeah.
No mailman, no pit bulls.
Wow, yeah.
Bruno didn't touch on it. I don't know. I can't say that they were one and done. I don't know. I mean, I know Fuller turns back up.
Yeah.
But I didn't look ahead to cheat to see, but as I was watching the show, I got all the way through it and I was like, did I watch the right show? Where the fuck's the stud stable? They just debuted last week. And I looked at the date and then I went and I pulled up the results for the Monday night card. I'm like, well, shit, they weren't there. Like, what the hell? They were a big chunk of last week's show.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, I titled last week's episode of the podcast, The Stud Stable Returns. And now I almost named this week, and the stud stable is gone. But running with scissors was too good of a topic. So I ran with that instead. And we got like a animated picture of Jerry Lawler holding a pair of scissors. So, I hope. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can do without mailman Curtis Thompson. Pit Bulls, I don't know. Like you pointed out, Josh, they had an interesting TV match. And if they weren't on the same side, I would like to see the Pit Bulls wrestle Brian Lee and Jeff Gaylord, honestly.
Yeah.
But I was pretty excited to have a heel Robert Fuller around because we all know where that's headed eventually. Eventually Fuller's going to turn babyface. He's going to tag with Golden Boy Jeff Jarrett, and that's going to be what it is. But that's all closer to 92, I believe.
Summer.
But yeah. So I don't know. I was after he got there last week. Man, it's going to be fun. We're going to have some heel Robert Fuller promos, and he may turn back up next week. I don't know, but it just struck me as very odd that we made such a huge portion of last week's show was about reintroducing Fuller in this new stable, and now there's not a sign of any of them here.
I think the dog promo like soured Jarrett or something. They're like, you can just pack your shit and get out of here talking that way on my television. I love dogs. I mean, what else could it be? Because they didn't even go Monday.
My thought is, Firebreaker Chip pops back up in WCW in 91. Like he's all over that show.
I mean, the mailman will return. I assure you, but I don't think the Pit Bulls do at all.
Huh.
I don't
pretty sure
either.
Somebody left the damn door open and they ran away.
Let my dogs just get on out of there. Oh,
Who? Did y'all hear he's writing a book about a lion, and it's supposed to be
that
like
is Ron.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He done did it. That book's been out like 3 years.
Okay.
Brutus,
a lion that starts killing people. It's
like
Smoky Mountain State Park.
That is how he's selling it. He says that
it's like Jaws.
People have told him this is like the next Jaws. But like not in the
He's
water.
still saying that, but that book's been out for like 4 or 5 years. Because I was still living in Coleman whenever he was shilling that on his podcast like 5 years ago. But yeah, that is funny. It's like Jaws on land. It's like, well, is he a land shark then? So,
knocking on the door. Telegram.
I love that. I love that Saturday Night Live skit. That will never stop being funny to me.
He's like Jaws on the water. That lion just popped up out of the water and ate that Kittner boy.
That son of a bitch was on a kayak.
I don't think even Robert would say something that.
Oh, that's great. Now, if Brutus
I almost
like
want to
that,
read
I'll
it now just so I could make a humorous review of it, but then I'd actually have to read it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe get a PDF of it and put it through Chat GPT or something.
Yes.
It analyzes about 10 pages and says, nope.
Yeah.
We're not doing this.
Then it suggests like other books. How about reading Jaws?
Yeah.
If you like this one, how about reading highlights for kids? I hope he had a good proofreader. But anyway, Ron Fuller's not even in USWA. I don't know how we got on that.
Sorry.
All good. All right. Well, I guess it's that
if
time
Robert Fuller did write the book.
And then
I'll tell you what I would like, though. All right. Ron Fuller may have wrote the book, but if they would offer an audio book of Robert reading it,
it's like just adding whatever he wanted to make it colorful. Then that line jumps out of that book and says, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, Lord.
I love it.
That boy today.
Ran him up a tree.
I can't wait. Robert Fuller calls the hotline one of these days. I actually waited it all week. I kept looking at still no call from Robert. then I watched the show and I'm like, fuck, he wasn't even on here. So that's even more of the reason we needed to hear from him. I don't know how long Uptown Bruno is going to be a thing, but I got a feeling the shelf life on that's not going to be long. Maybe I'm wrong, but
damn Billy Joel song was stuck in my head all day after I watched it. Uptown Bruno.
Can't find shit to rhyme for the next verse. But at least you can have that one over and over. That's your for next week. Come up with another verse to rhyme with Uptown Bruno. There's nothing springing into my head right now that's even close to usable.
No.
The Alaskan city of Juneau.
You know? All right. Well, make sure you check out P3 Radio. Always a fun time. And you guys are picking up some new listeners who are discovering it through the channel. I've been getting some messages from people that say that they have an even greater love for y'all's humor after hearing P3 Radio. So that's cool.
I think when you sent us that message, Josh and me's first response was, good Lord, they didn't listen to the first one, did they?
Yeah, I hope you didn't rewind that all the way back. Maybe just the latest episode. That'd be good.
Now I get another message. Never mind, just heard the first episode.
They record that on a walkie-talkie?
Take that back. They did it through a CB radio with a microphone held up to the other one to record it. But
we didn't know it was going to be a thing. We were just doing it, to do it at that point. But
I will say, for the people that listen to the newer episodes, way more coherent than some of those from 1 to like 200, I want to say. A lot of those were just Josh and I getting blitzed on a Friday night and doing a show. Now, we don't do that so much anymore because we record on Sundays and Josh don't drink anymore. So, a lot more coherent.
That sounds like fun to me. So that's a fun little experiment you can do. You can listen to some from that range, and then you can jump ahead and listen to some of the more recent stuff and compare and contrast, and
we'll figure
maybe
out
do a
if I
review
need
of it.
Yeah,
maybe we can get somebody to start a weekly review of P3 Radio. Oh, there's already a guy doing that.
We like polls. We like to do polls and such to listen for feedback and kind of gauge what we need to do. We'll do a poll after they listen to both eras and see if I need to start drinking again or not.
That's how you can justify it to your wife.
Well, baby, they did a poll. It said 60% said I need to start drinking again.
The people have spoken, okay? I'm a man of the people. I'm doing this for them. It ain't for me. You think I like being drunk on a Sunday morning? No, I don't.
Have you ever heard of sacrificing yourself for art? You don't understand me.
So go check out all the episodes of P3 Radio. They're all there on the Retro Wrestling Archive YouTube channel, or if you want to just listen and it's easier, you can pick them up at pretty much any podcast player. You guys are in there, so check it out. Also, check out our buddy BT over at stspod.club and all the different podcast content that he offers over there, as well as our friend Ray Russell, WrestleCopia.com, and the tons of great wrestling content that he puts out week in and week out. And if you want to help us out, you can subscribe, rate, and review this show wherever it is that you listen to it. And if you need to know more about the show, check out USWApodcast.com. You can get merch. You can go check out all the different social medias, all the things related to this very podcast. And check out DougGilbertPodcast.com for dangerous conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich, their weekly show that we do across all the podcast platforms as well. So you can find it pretty much anywhere you want to also. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@retro wrestling review. And check out our friends at EPWWrestlingMS.com. EPW Wrestling, one of the top independent wrestling promotions in the Southeast right now. And I'm proud to be involved with them. And they put on a really good show, and they bring in top names from around the world. So check them out.
They're coming to Jackson in September.
Yes, they are. And they're bringing the Honky Tonk Man with them.
Yeah.
That should be fun. Yeah, and they're bringing Buff Bagwell to Philadelphia, Mississippi. Yes, that's still on. I seen a picture yesterday of him at a meet and greet with somebody, and so
that's awesome.
Yep, he'll be there. So make sure you join him. And then they're also involved in bringing Mick Foley to Corinth, to the Corinth Coliseum coming up in September, I believe. We'll have a graphic for that next week and pitch the actual date. But also take a moment and call 256 Egg Iron if you have comments, questions, if you want to send us a text, or if you do a good voice of anybody even remotely related to USWA. Hell, it don't even have to be related to USWA. We'd like to hear it, and we'd probably like to play it on the show here. So remember, 256 Egg Iron, the weirdest call-in number on the entire internet, and that's saying something. Guys, what else you got before we get out of here?
I'm anxiously waiting, like Abraham Lincoln impersonations. Was his voice ever recorded?
They say it was higher pitched than what it's been perceived. Like everybody that does Abe Lincoln does this right here.
Oh, this here, 4 and 7.
But,
4
yeah.
7 years.
I say, now I can't wait for somebody to do like a Michael Jackson voice as Abraham Lincoln. Like some smart ass listener's gonna be like, "Hey, this is Abraham Lincoln."
Ignorant.
Don't be ignorant. Free them slaves or something. It'll piss Hulk Hogan off. He'll be mad. So if you want to do that, you can. We'll play it, even though we just did it. If you got a different spin on it, if you have if you want to do like a Mike Tyson-esque Abraham Lincoln impression, you can do that too. Or you don't have to stay with Abraham Lincoln. You can do whatever you want.
You can do
at the end of the show. At the end of that show, we need to fill space, obviously, as we're just
as long as it's a U.S. president.
I'm Grover Cleveland. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, hello there. If Freezer Thompson's listening, would like to call in and describe that match he had against Brian Lee and Jeff Gaylor. Want to take a crack at that one, anybody? Them boys done killed me.
They threw me out of the ring.
I took out 4 Cub Scouts when I hit the floor.
Oh my God.
Also, make sure you get our friend the Spellbinders Mini Master figure available at rushfigures.com. And be on the lookout for Wolfie D's book, A Tale of Two Wolves, that's going to be coming out here in the next few weeks. Proud to be a part of that. It's a very, very interesting story. Make sure you check it out. And I think, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up before we get into any other impressions that maybe we shouldn't. I don't know. So for Richard and Josh, this is Gene Jackson. Thank you for watching the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast.